Okay, guys, I want to talk about the topic of revenge and the proper domain to seek revenge. So, I think revenge is part of the human spirit. I think people want to seek revenge. Um, it's kind of who we are, right? But there's a proper domain for it, where you do good in the world rather than bad. So, I watched this video the other day of this guy who went to South Sudan, which is pretty much the most unstable country in the world, and there's this kind of civil war going on. And he went to this village, and a lot of these villages in South Sudan, they have these things called they're called revenge killings. You know, I mean, they have them in other parts of the world, but it's quite common in South Sudan, I should say, where someone's been killed in another village through the conflicts that's going on there or whatever. I don't really understand it, but someone's been killed. Then often a cousin or a brother or a friend of the person who's been killed will show up to the village where the person who killed their brother or cousin or whatever it is was from, and kill the guy who killed their cousin, right? That's a revenge killing. The problem with it is often the wrong person gets killed. You know, there's quite a big confusion. And this guy who visited this village, he said there'd been a revenge killing literally a few days before he arrived, and the person who had been killed had been an aid worker who was working, giving that kind of peanut butter stuff to malnourished kids. And this guy who was seeking revenge for a brother or a cousin or whatever it was, shot him, or her, I don't remember what gender they were. And this is terribly sad, and it really shows the capacity for destruction that comes from revenge. Anyway, it made me think of a quote by Marcus Aurelius, which is it's quite a famous one, especially in self-help. But it's like the best form of revenge is to be better than them, or something like that. It's I can't quite remember the quote exactly, but it's that gist. It's like, don't seek revenge by wronging the person that you've been wronged by. Don't wrong them back, don't stoop to that level, but just be better than them. Which is actually great advice, but I think the way I interpret it is that the kind of revenge that posits still has its sort of bitter the sly satisfaction that we associate with other types of revenge. It's still a revenge. It's not some sort of wimpy way to sort of, it sounds like a bit of a cop-out to say, oh, just be better than them, just to be better than them. But in order to be better than someone, you have to, you're still, what I'm getting at is you're still applying that anger and that angst that you feel towards the person. You're just putting it into a productive thing, in a positive way. And you will get that satisfaction of serving them right by being better than them, in the same way that you would if you wronged them. But it will be more fuller, or you'll be happier for it, and the world will be better for it as well. Because I think a lot of people, I've interpreted that as the past as just kind of being forgive and forget, and I think there's an element of that, but it's, I think just the anger you get from a revenge, you really want to channel it, is what I'm getting at. Just channel it into the right things, and the only thing you should channel it into really is being better as a person, because then all your other problems will just kind of sort themselves out naturally. I see, and this is kind of thing that says a lot in self-improvement. You know, there's that thing, that interview where Tristan Tate says, you know, if you get dumped by a girl, don't get angry, just be better than them, and trust me, you know, they'll come back, you know, they'll regret it, you know, and then in a few years' time they'll be like, oh, shame that never worked out, and then he'll be like, yeah, shame for you, you know. And you know, I kind of rate that, to be honest. I mean, this girl that I was seeing a few months ago that didn't really work out, and you know, that was a shame. But she will look back on that date, you know, the times we saw each other, in a year's time, a few years' time, and she'll be like, she will regret it, like, no question about that. Now, whether the relationship works out anyway, probably not. But yeah, I do. I'm quite confident about that. She will be like, fuck, you know, I really let a good thing go there. That guy had a lot of potential, and she'll be absolutely right, you know. And you know, it might sound like a bit of a dickish thing to say from one point, but I think that's a better way to view it than the alternative, which is to sort of just be bitter towards her. You know, it's much better to have the other approach, that it's like, it's her loss in the long term, because I'm going to be even better. And then it's going to be at a point where I'm going to choose someone even better than her. And yeah, you know, I'm very confident about that. Because that revenge, the desire for revenge, has got to go somewhere. You know, you can't get away from it. It's got to go somewhere. So yeah, I think just put it into this, what I've talked about in this video.